I am a fake wealthy daughter. When the real young master came back, my parents doted on him dearly, saying they would give him anything he wanted. I had just stepped into the house when the young master's eyes lit up at the sight of me. I want her to be my wife. Me, my parents? The real young master, is that not allowed? My name is Piper Lang, and I have gone by this name for as long as I can remember. My father served in the military when he was young, and I am the orphaned daughter of his comrade in arms. My birth mother passed away from illness when I was little, leaving me with no relatives in the entire city. Moved by my plight, my parents adopted me. They had suffered greatly too. Their biological son had been abducted by a malicious nanny when he was over 3 years old, and had never been found since. And so, they who had lost their son and I, who had lost my parents, formed a family together. Yet all these years, they never gave up searching for their biological child. I am 24 years old this year. After graduating with a doctorate in Germany, I joined the family business. My father started out in building materials, then seized the real estate boom, multiplied his wealth, and withdrew from the market just in time. Now he owns several commercial real estate properties and 2 investment firms. After I took over, I launched new business lines, including an entertainment company. I grew up in such an environment. My parents never kept the truth from me. They even told me the whole story as a natural bedtime story when I was 7 or 8 years old. They always said Piper is a gift bestowed upon us by heaven. I paid it no mind back then. It was only after I came of age and they eagerly pushed me to inherit the company so they could retire that I understood why they always looked at me with such warm, bright eyes. I had just returned from a business trip abroad and sensed something was off the moment I walked through the door. The living room lights were on, filled with cheerful chatter and laughter. There was someone inside. I walked closer. I heard my mother's voice coming from the living room. It was her unrestrained, loud and hearty laugh. You loved eating this when you were little. I remember it perfectly. Your dad insisted you didn't. Look, just look. My father's voice cut in, rare and trembling with emotion. It's not that I forgot. I just mixed things up. He was only a child back then. Then came a voice I had never heard before. It was clear, resonant, and full of vitality. Mom, don't get too excited. Take it slow. I'll have a piece first, then we can talk it over. Delicious. This is exactly the taste I remember. Dad, you have a piece too. I stood in the entrance hall, frozen for 3 full seconds. There was so much information packed into those words. First, he was eating food my mom had cooked. Second, he called my mom Mom and my dad Dad. Third, his tone was so natural, as if he had lived in this house for 20 years. I changed into slippers and walked over, stopping at the entrance to the living room. The coffee table was covered with food, sweet and sour spare ribs, fried spring rolls, glutinous rice lotus root, and a plate of simply shaped cookies, obviously kneaded and baked hastily by my mom. A young man sat on the sofa. It was hard to tell his exact age. He wore an orange hoodie with the sleeves pushed up to his forearms, revealing a tanned, healthy, weak complexion. His hair was slightly messy, as if he had casually run his hands through it before going out. Yet the messy eyes suited him perfectly, making him look warm and vibrant. He exuded an air of liveliness. He was picking up a spare rib with chopsticks and putting it into his mouth, his cheeks puffed out. When he saw me walking out from the entrance hall, he suddenly stopped chewing. Then he set down his chopsticks, stood up, and smiled at me. I had seen all kinds of smiles before, polite, awkward, ingratiating, nervous. But his smile was nothing like any of them. It was pure, genuine joy. Just like someone waiting at a train station finally catching sight of the person they had come to pick up stepping out of the exit. My parents also noticed me. My mom stood up first. Piper, why didn't you call to say you were back? I would have asked your dad to pick you up. I waved my phone lightly. My phone ran out of battery. I walked further inside and asked, Mom, Dad, who is this ... My parents looked a little awkward. Finally my father spoke up. This is your elder brother. We've found our son who went missing 20 years ago. His name is Leo Song. He grew up in an orphanage in City Y. He came to work in City Z 2 years ago and registered his information with the Public Security Bureau. That's how your mom and I found him. I nodded in understanding. Congratulations, Mom and Dad. I felt no sadness at all. I was truly happy for them. I had witnessed how much they had suffered searching for him over these 20 years. And they had always treated me wonderfully all these years. You must be Piper Lung? He walked around the coffee table toward me with long strides and stopped right in front of me, looking down at me. He was nearly a head taller than me, forcing me to tilt my chin up slightly. A trace of wariness crept into my heart. What was he up to? Could he have some grudge against me? Perhaps he would resent me for taking his parents' love and affection for 20 years. My mind raced with all sorts of possibilities when he spoke. Mom was right, he said, his eyes shining brightly, as if admiring a gift he had long looked forward to. You really are as beautiful as she said. I said nothing, but I let out a quiet sigh of relief. It seemed he harbored no ill will toward me. That was good. He smiled again, the curve of his lips widening a little more to reveal a set of neat white teeth. My name is Leo Song. I'm 26 years old. I work at a small planning company. My monthly salary is 8,000, and I have 50,000 in savings. No house, no car, but I have a driver's license. I don't smoke, drink, or gamble. I can cook, fix water pipes, and change light bulbs. After finishing this long introduction, he added earnestly, It's a pleasure to meet you. I was usually capable of replying to emails during meetings, yet it took me 2 full seconds to process all this information. Overwhelmed by his enthusiasm, I stammered, Hello. It's nice to meet you too. Staring at his unclouded, bright smile, I suddenly didn't know what to say. After being abducted and sent to an orphanage, spending more than 20 years away from his biological parents, shouldn't a normal person be a little reserved, tentative, or at a loss? Why did he act as if he were just dropping by a relative's house for a visit? Come on, he gestured for me to head toward the sofa. Sit down first. You must be tired after a full day of work. Mom said you love glutinous rice lotus root. I saved half for you. I almost ate it all myself, it was so good, but I held back. I was swept along by his pace, still dazed. By the time he seated me on the sofa and handed me a pair of chopsticks, I finally snapped back to my senses. How long have you just reunited with Mom and Dad? 3 days. He sat down opposite me and continued picking at the spare ribs. They wanted to tell you in person when you got back. They didn't expect you to return suddenly, so it turned into this unexpected meeting. My parents smiled at me, confirming his words. My mom said, But Piper, don't overthink this. Your dad and I have raised you as our own daughter all these years. Now that your brother is back, your place in our hearts will never change. My mom exchanged a glance with my dad. Now that both you and Leo are by our side, we finally have both a son and a daughter. My father nodded beside her, clearly content with the current situation. After dinner, my parents returned to sit in the living room, and Leo Song sat down as well. My mom's earlier excitement had faded into cautious anticipation. She glanced at my dad, who nodded in return. Then she cleared her throat. Leo, we want to talk to you about something. Sure. He sat cross-legged on the sofa, hugging a cushion, relaxed and easygoing like a big golden retriever basking in the sun. Go ahead, Mom. It's like this. My mom rested her hands on her knees, her tone earnest. We never stopped searching for you for a single day over these 20 years. Now that you're back, we want to make it up to you in every way we can, not just emotionally but materially too. We can't erase all the hardships you've endured, but we never want you to suffer again for the rest of your life. Leo Song's smile faded slowly, yet he kept his gaze fixed on my mom's eyes, calm and unflinching as he listened quietly. My father took over the conversation. Leo, we know you're outstanding. But as your parents, we want to give you a better starting point. You can ask us for anything you want, a house, a car, capital to start a company, or even studying abroad. Whatever it is, if you ask, we will find a way to give it to you. The living room fell silent for 2 seconds. I listened quietly too. Leo Song lowered his eyes, tracing slow circles along the edge of the cushion with his fingers. Then he lifted his head, the corners of his mouth curving up again, wider than ever before, his smile bright and unapologetically confident. Anything I want? Anything, my father replied firmly. Then I want her. He lifted his finger from the cushion and pointed straight at me. My hand holding the teacup froze midair. My mom's mouth fell open in shock, and my father frowned, not out of anger, but like a seasoned businessman caught off guard by an unexpected move in a negotiation. Seeing my parents' stunned expressions, Leo Song did not hold back. Instead, he laughed loudly, leaned back against the sofa, rested both hands behind his head, and relaxed completely. What's wrong? You said I could have anything. Leo, what I meant was, you never said I couldn't ask for a person, he interrupted my father with a grin, then turned to look at me. His gaze straightforward and unhidden. I'm serious. I saw photos of you long before I came back. Mom sent them to me on WeChat, telling me this is your younger sister Piper Lang. I thought right away how beautiful you were. Then when I saw you walk into the living room just now, I knew I was done. You're even more beautiful than in the photos. As he spoke, his gaze drifted down my face an inch, settling firmly on my eyes. Especially your eyes. You look at me with such calm composure. I fell in love with you at first sight. I finally set down my teacup with a clear, crisp sound. Leo Song, I said steadily, you've only known me for an hour. An hour. And 15 minutes, he corrected me cheerfully. I've been timing it since you walked through the door. Still, you're right. Hasn't been very long. He leaned forward, resting his arms on his knees and looking up at me. Like an adoptable puppy crouching behind a cage, gazing up at passers-by. His eyes were bright with anticipation and a hint of mischief, yet underneath lay a faint layer of earnestness, so sincere that one more second of looking would make you realize he wasn't joking at all. So I'd like to apply for more time to get to know you. If an hour and 15 minutes isn't enough, would a lifetime do? Mom let out a sound somewhere between amazement and emotion. Dad took off his glasses and put them back on again, clearly needing time to reorganize his thoughts. Leo Song leaned back onto the sofa once more and smiled at me. I fell silent. After a long while I found my voice again. Dad and Mom and I are on the same household registration booklet. I tried to use this reality to break off Leo Song's absurd idea. Now that he had found his biological parents, his registered permanent residence would naturally be updated. It was impossible for two people listed on the same household register to get married. But I'm not on this booklet right now. I can always be added after we get married. He crossed his legs, pulled the cushion back onto his lap, raised his brows at me with curved eyes, and spoke lightly as if discussing which breakfast bun shop to pair with soybean milk tomorrow morning. Think about it, little sister wife. Meeting his warm, radiant smile, I took a sip of tea, my tone utterly calm. I've heard of child brides, I said. Never heard of younger sister brides. He froze for a split second, then burst into hearty laughter that echoed through the living room, making the fruit plate on the coffee table tremble slightly. Then I'll be the first one in history. It's almost the same thing, just one character different. He then turned to win over my parents. Dad, Mom, didn't you say she graduated with a doctorate from a prestigious university in Germany, and runs the company brilliantly? And as you can see for yourselves, I only went to an ordinary university domestically, and hold a regular job now. I'm definitely not capable of managing the company well. Why not let little sister marry me? That way you won't have to worry about her being bullied after marriage, and all the property and assets can stay with her. Mom and Dad looked visibly moved. If I agreed, it was clearly the outcome they hoped for. After all, they truly hated the thought of letting me leave, and Leo Song and I shared no blood relation whatsoever. Theoretically speaking, it was completely feasible, and they could enjoy having both son and daughter by their side forever. Mom spoke hesitantly. Piper, if you're willing, it's not entirely impossible. You've been busy with your studies and the company all these years, never giving thought to your personal life. Actually, well, you could give it a try. If Leo ever bullies you, your dad and I will stand up for you and discipline him. Leo Song's eyes lit up even more at her words. I felt helpless. To be honest, it wasn't that I was against dating. I was simply too occupied with other matters to spare the thought. Even if I were ready, he was my parents' biological son, my nominal elder brother. I sighed. Mom, why are you joining in this nonsense too? Dad finally snapped out of his daze, looking at me with a complicated mix of helplessness, relief, surprise, and tenderness in his eyes. Piper, he said, this is entirely up to you to decide. Mom tugged at Dad's sleeve and whispered, I think it's a good fit, only to be silenced by one stern glance from him. Still, she couldn't suppress the smile tugging at her lips. Leo Song leaned forward from across the sofa, drawing closer to me. Don't worry, he said. The playfulness in his eyes faded into something more sincere than a smile. I won't be relying on you to take care of me. It'll be me taking care of you. I can cook, fix pipes, change light bulbs. I'll hand over my entire 8,000 monthly salary to you to manage our finances. He paused, scratching the tip of his nose, his smile returning full and bright like a big golden retriever sitting before me, tail wagging furiously behind him, daring to ask even though he knew it was a little bold. Give me a chance? My teacup hovered at my lips. I stared into his burning bright eyes, no hesitation, no calculation, only straightforward enthusiasm and a deeply hidden fear of being rejected. I finished my tea and set the cup back down on the coffee table with a soft, steady thud. But you're my elder brother. Leo Song pouted slightly in dissatisfaction. Legally, I'm not registered in this household yet, and we share no blood ties. Emotionally, we've never actually lived as brother and sister. There's no ethical issue at all. I fell silent. He was far too good at arguing his way out of things. Seeing me quiet but not outright refusing, Leo Song didn't look dejected at all. All right then. Your silence means you're at least not against it. That means I can start pursuing you. If you end up falling for me with my efforts, all the better. If you still don't have feelings for me in the end, I'll settle down and just be your elder brother obediently. I was still processing his words. He cut in immediately. Since you didn't say no, I'll take it as you agreeing. It's settled then. He didn't leave me the slightest chance to argue back. Beneath the warm yellow lamplight, I looked into his eyes, brighter even than the living room chandelier. Suddenly I felt that perhaps the days ahead would carry a little more unpredictability than my once perfectly structured life, and this unexpected variable didn't seem unpleasant at all. When I headed upstairs to rest, Leo Song followed closely behind me. I turned around. Why are you still following me? Leo Song pointed innocently behind me. My room is right next to yours. I was left lost for words and walked straight into my bedroom. Leo Song's smiling voice drifted over from behind. Good night, little sister. The last two words rolled off his tongue with a lingering soft tone, drifting straight into my ears. ... When I came downstairs the next morning, I heard Leo Song chatting with Mom in the living room. Mom said, Leo, were you serious about wanting Piper to be your wife? Leo Song replied, Of course I was. I fell for her the moment I laid eyes on her. Mom spoke as if making a huge decision. Then how do you plan to pursue her? Plenty of boys have chased Piper growing up, but none ever succeeded. You need a proper strategy. Your dad and I will never let Piper get hurt. Leo Song's play full voice came next. Don't worry. I'll be the one getting hurt, never her. I deliberately made my footsteps heavier. Leo Song looked over at once. You're up. Want breakfast? I nodded. Leo Song carried several servings of breakfast out from the kitchen, both Chinese and Western styles. I didn't know what you liked, so I made a bit of everything. I glanced at the table half covered with food. I'm actually easy to please. There's no need to go to such extremes. Leo Song disagreed firmly. That won't do. If I'm going to pursue you, I have to put in the effort. I silently picked up a cup of soybean milk and took a sip, afraid that any reply would fuel his enthusiasm and make him go even overboard tomorrow. Sit down and eat. He sat down across from me, glancing at me after every bite he took. Mom pretended to scroll through her phone beside us, but from the corner of my eye, I could see her gaze darting back and forth between the two of us non-stop. She typed rapidly, obviously chatting with one of her best friends. Mom, I said without looking up, don't go telling Aunt Wang. I'm not. Her tone was undeniably guilty. Leo Song chuckled softly beside me, then quickly composed himself and pretended to focus on his meal. Leo Song was truly something. He'd barely been in this house for less than a week, yet he'd already wrapped Mom and Dad around his finger. Dad, usually a man of few words, now spent every evening playing Chinese chess with him, insisting on a third round even after losing 2 in a row. As for Mom, she cooked all sorts of delicious new dishes for him every single day. I had to admit, he stirred a strange, unfamiliar feeling within me. Growing up, I was used to solving problems logically, coming top in exams, skipping grades, winning scholarships. Everything followed a clear pattern. Plenty of people had pursued me before, yet their advances were always easy for me to handle. No response, no encouragement, no acknowledgement. They would naturally back off. But Leo Song didn't follow any unspoken rules. Or rather, he saw them and chose to act completely differently. He'd look at my cold demeanor and say, "Oh, you're cold? Then I'll come closer and shield you from the wind." Take the broken coffee machine for example. I hadn't even gotten around to calling customer service. Yet the next day, the machine was working perfectly again, with a latte set beside it. The milk art was lopsided, looking like a potato that had tumbled over. "It's a heart," he told me with a serious, sincere expression. "Abstract art style heart." I stared at the potato-shaped latte for 5 full seconds. "It's fine." His eyes lit up instantly. I couldn't fathom how someone's eyes could shine so brightly just from 2 plain words, as if my casual comment were a winning lottery ticket number. "Then you can have coffee every day from now on," he said. "Tell me what flavor you want, and I'll learn more milk art designs." "You already know how?" "Not yet," he admitted frankly. "So far I can only make potato hearts." I didn't laugh out loud, but I was barely holding it back. Sometimes he would invite me out for a walk together. The evening in the Villa district was quiet. We walked slowly along the path. He stayed half a step to my left. After walking a while he suddenly spoke. "Piper Lang, I want to ask you something." "Go ahead." "Do you have any hard deal breakers when it comes to liking someone? Like hating talkative guys, or disliking crooked teeth, or insisting your partner earns $1 million a year? Just tell me straight so I know where I stand." "Not really." "What do you mean by not really?" I paused to think carefully. "Probably just no smoking and no heavy drinking. I don't have any other harsh requirements." He stopped in the middle of the path. "Piper Lung," he said, "do you know what your words mean to me? It's like giving me an infinite health cheat in a game. I thought you were the type one had to strategize for, gain favor points and unlock achievements with. But turns out you don't have any defense at all. I'm just stating the truth. Your truth is the biggest encouragement I could ever get." With that, he started walking again. A few steps later he turned around and walked backward facing me, spreading his arms wide in a big gesture. "Then I can boldly and freely like you from now on." His voice carried far down the quiet evening path. An elderly man walking his dog glanced back at us, and the dog turned its head too. I should have felt embarrassed, yet strangely I didn't. Perhaps it was because his tone was so pure, so much so that his words didn't sound like a confession, but just a weather forecast. "Sunny today, 20 degrees Celsius, I like you." He could also be quite scheming at times, trying to dig up more information about me from Mom. "Look Leo, this is Piper when she was 5. Wasn't she adorable? This one's from her speech contest at the Children's Palace. She won first place in the whole city. This is her high school graduation. She gave a speech on stage without smiling once. Even the principal was stunned. Double quotes Mom." I interrupted awkwardly. Leo Song took the photo album and flipped through the pages slowly, as if reading a book written in an unfamiliar language. These little moments of quiet companionship filled my life. This bright, vibrant person had broken through my calm composure. Something inside my heart began to feel different too. On an ordinary afternoon, Leo Song and I sat on the living room sofa. He suddenly grew interested in German and kept pestering me to teach him a few phrases. Just then the doorbell rang. Mom went to answer it. I heard her say at the entrance, "Milo? What brings you here?" Her tone was full of surprise and delight. Then came another man's voice, greeting with a smile, "Aunt Ruin." He said he hadn't visited in a long time and had heard the Lang family had happy news lately, so he came specially to congratulate them. I closed my laptop and walked to the doorway. Leo Song followed beside me. "Do you know him?" he whispered. "Milo Su," I replied. We've known each other since childhood. Our families are old friends. He's probably 28 this year. He went abroad a few years ago to do an MBA, and must have just come back. Liu Song said nothing, but his expression turned slightly more solemn. Milo Su was ushered into the living room by Mom, carrying 2 boxes of pastries. He exuded natural ease and poise from head to toe. He exchanged pleasantries with Dad and Mom first, then looked toward Liu Song and held out his hand. You must be Liu Song. Aunt Ruin told me all about you. Welcome home. I'm Milo Su. I used to live on the next street over and grew up alongside Piper Lang. Liu Song shook his hand. Their grips lingered for 2 or 3 seconds, both firm in strength as far as I could tell. Thank you, Liu Song said with a polite smile on his lips, the standard greeting smile. Childhood friends? Piper never mentioned you to me. His words weren't exactly impolite, but they were far from warm. There was an undeniable undertone of guarded hostility in his tone. Milo Su smiled and withdrew his hand, his tone still gentle. She probably didn't think I was worth mentioning. I was quite annoying as a kid, always teasing her while she ignored me completely. She still ignores most people now, Liu Song retorted. That's only because you never knew her when she was little. Milo Su looked at him calmly. She was even more reserved back then. In the first 3 years we knew each other, she said my name fewer than 5 times. The corner of Liu Song's mouth twitched, unsure whether he was amused or growing more wary. I poured a cup of tea beside them, and pushed it toward Milo Su, changing the subject. How long have you been back in the country? 2 weeks. Milo Su took the teacup and glanced at me. I first settled work handovers at the company, then heard about your family's news. How could I not come when your parents found their long-lost son? Mom had already gone to rummage through the fridge and poked her head out to invite him. Milo, stay for dinner tonight. Milo Su agreed with a smile. His gaze then fell back on me. Piper Lang, he said, we should grab dinner sometime soon. His tone was casual, like arranging an ordinary meeting. Yet I noticed Liu Song stiffened for a split second. At the dinner table, Dad opened a good bottle of wine. Milo Su sat across from me, and Liu Song sat beside me. The conversation drifted from Milo Su's experiences abroad to recent projects at Dad's company, then to the future layout of Su Industries. The atmosphere was far from awkward, but one person spoke 80% less than usual. Liu Song kept his head down, eating the whole time, only occasionally looking up to pick up food. Even when Milo Su told a joke that made Dad laugh and slap the table, he didn't react at all. After dinner, Milo Su stayed on the sofa, and finally brought up the real reason for his visit tonight. He said Su Industries was currently integrating its commercial real estate sector, which complemented many of Dad's company's businesses perfectly. In-depth cooperation between the 2 families would secure them a stronger position in the regional commercial market. He spoke at a steady pace with clear logic, quoting every statistic precisely, clearly having prepared thoroughly. Milo Su paused for a moment, looked at my parents, his professional calm softening into sincere solemnity. Uncle Lang, Aunt Ruin, he said, I've thought long and hard about this. It's not an impulsive decision. Cooperation between the Su and Lang families would benefit both sides greatly. Beyond business cooperation, there's another matter I'd like to discuss with you. Piper Lang and I have known each other for nearly 20 years. I know her personality, ability, and character well, and I've always admired her. I've taken over part of my family's business now, and I need a partner who can stand beside me as an equal. Piper Lang is the perfect match. So I'd like to formally propose an arranged marriage between us. If Piper agrees, I will cherish this commitment for a lifetime. The living room fell dead silent. My parents exchanged a glance, then both turned their eyes to me. And Liu Song too. They knew Liu Song had feelings for me, but marriage could never be forced. They looked at me silently, waiting for my answer. I was someone who always calculated gains and losses before speaking, so I fell silent. I assessed the feasibility of this proposal, calculated profits and costs, and considered the synergistic benefits an arranged marriage would bring to both companies. Rationality told me this plan deserved serious consideration. I stayed quiet for several seconds. Impossible. Liu Song's voice cut sharply through the silence beside me. It wasn't his usual bright, cheerful tone. It was restrained by reason, yet anger seeped through every crack. He stood up from the sofa, walked to the center of the living room, positioned himself between me and Milo Sue, with his back to me, facing Milo Sue directly. He grabbed Milo Sue by the arm and pulled him toward the door with quick, rigid steps. Milo Sue stumbled back 2 paces before steadying himself. The two faced off at the living room entrance. Milo Sue, I can answer you right now. The arranged marriage is impossible. Liu Song paused, speaking each word deliberately. I disagree. She will not enter an arranged marriage. Business cooperation is one thing, marriage is another. They are completely separate matters. Milo Sue looked at him quietly for 2 seconds before speaking. Liu Song, Milo Sue said, do you even have a say in this? I do. Liu Song's reply came instantly. First, I'm her nominal elder brother. Second, I like her and I'm pursuing her. I will never agree to this arranged marriage. He then turned around to face me. I looked into his eyes. Those always bright eyes were now red-rimmed. He needed confirmation right then whose side I was on. I stared at him and parted my lips. The profit analysis model and risk assessment matrix in my mind froze completely at the same time. This was extremely rare for me. I could always keep my rational mind running no matter the situation, but right now, looking at Liu Song, my thoughts ground to a halt. Before I could speak, he left. He let go of Milo Sue's collar, didn't glance at me or anyone else, and strode straight up the stairs. Then came the sound of a door closing. Not a slammed door, but a soft, restrained, carefully closed door. That quiet close hurt more than a slam. A slammed door was anger. A softly closed door was sorrow. 4 of us remained in the living room. Milo Sue smoothed his crumpled collar where he'd been grabbed, his expression complicated. I looked at Milo Sue. Don't bring up the arranged marriage again. I stood outside Liu Song's door for 2 minutes. He knew I was there, yet he didn't open it. Downstairs, my parents stayed quiet. The whole house felt as if someone had muted all sound. Liu Song, I said through the door, open up. There were 2 or 3 seconds of silence inside. Then his voice came out muffled, trying to sound normal yet with a dejected lilt at the end. I'm already asleep. The light in your room is still on. I can see the glow under the door crack. Another pause, then he mumbled, I forgot to turn it off. I stood outside his door for a long while, my hand resting against the wooden panel. Brother, I called out to him. Silence suddenly fell behind the door. After a few seconds, his voice came through, much softer than before, as if he were sitting on the floor leaning against the door, his face buried in his knees as he spoke. Don't call me that. Why not? Because it'll feel like you're comforting me. You don't have to comfort me. I'm not a child. Then open the door. After a few seconds of pause, he said, wait a moment. There was a rustling sound inside the room, followed by the click of the door unlocking. His hair was messy, as if he had just lost a one-sided fight, and the roots of his eyelashes looked slightly damp. Being tall, he had to lower his head slightly to look at me. Yet he turned his gaze away, staring at the wall beside the door frame, as if there was a painting worth studying intently on it. What is it? He said. Speak, I'm listening. He was giving me an easy way out. Even like this, he was still making things easier for me. My throat suddenly tightened a little. I will never accept Milo Sue's proposal, I said. I didn't answer. Right. Away in the living room, not because I was considering agreeing. It's just my habit to weigh the pros and cons of things. It has nothing to do with you. To me, Milo Sue is just the son of an old neighbor I've known for years, nothing more. I was caught off guard earlier, not that I wasn't on your side. Liu Song leaned against the doorframe, staring down at his bare feet, remaining silent for a long time. Then he spoke, his voice very soft, half an octave lower than usual. You don't have to apologize to me. You don't need to explain your thoughts or actions to anyone. You belong only to yourself, not to me. Can I come in, brother? Liu Song hesitated for a second, then stepped aside to let me in. The door closed behind us. He leaned against the doorframe and looked at me. His eyes held raw honesty and the courage of someone ready to burn all bridges. There's something else I've Never told anyone, he said. What is it? I've been to City Z before, he said. This isn't my first time. When? Winter vacation of my junior year in college. He rested against the doorframe, folding his arms in front of him. Back then, my university had a holiday training program with the advertising industrial park here in City Z. Accommodation was provided, but meals weren't. I found a part-time job dressing up as a mascot at a cafe near the mall on weekends. He smiled faintly, the smile distant, as if telling a story that had little to do with himself. Those thick plush costumes were sweltering inside. I earned 80 yuan a day, which felt like a lot to me back then. A twinge of heartache washed over me. He glanced at me, then began to talk about me. The city library was right across from the cafe. Standing there every day, I could see people coming and going from the entrance. You visited often, every Saturday afternoon without fail. His voice turned extremely soft all of a sudden, like sharing a secret he'd kept hidden for years. It was winter back then. I saw you every weekend. You always passed by the shop entrance. There were tall steps at the mall gate. Wearing that mascot costume tired me out after standing for a long time. But I didn't dare sit down, or the store manager would scold me. Every time I saw you walking over, I'd stand up straighter. I already knew what he was going to say. Yet when the words left his mouth, my heart still jolted violently as if struck by something hard. Once he said, you walked over, stopped right in front of me. The mascot costume had a huge fluffy belly. You reached out and patted it gently, your expression utterly serious, as if checking how soft the bear's tummy was. Then you tucked your hands back into your coat pocket and walked away. After that, you'd come pat me every single time. He smiled again, warm with the weight of time and a faint trace of bitterness. No one had ever done that to me, he said. It was the coldest week of winter. I stayed inside that stuffy costume for 4 hours, exhausted and stifled. You patted the bear's belly once, then left. Just like that. That's when I thought to myself, I wish I could be with this person someday. After he finished speaking, the room fell into a long silence. Long enough for my racing heart to steady itself, yet beat to a completely different rhythm. After I graduated, he went on, his tone regaining a touch of its usual lightness, I decided to come work in City Z. No special reason, just thought this city felt nice. And then by sheer coincidence, And then he found his biological parents. The day he saw the DNA report, he sat in his office for a long time. Then he saw the family photo Mom had sent over. It was the first time he'd ever seen photos of his birth parents. Yet his eyes drifted involuntarily to the expressionless girl standing quietly at the side of the picture. The world hadn't been entirely unkind to him, and City Z truly was a wonderful place. So, Leo Sung finished his story. I didn't suddenly fall for you. I didn't start chasing you only after meeting you. I've liked you for a very long time, long before you even knew I existed in this world. I took half a step forward. I lifted my arms, wrapped them around his back, and rested my palm between his tense shoulder blades. He rested his chin lightly on my shoulder and let out a soft chuckle. You don't have to. Leo Song, I cut him off, my voice low beside his ear. I like you too. He froze completely. Slowly, tentatively, he lifted his arms and wrapped them around my back. You mean, double quotes, he sniffled quietly. I'm your boyfriend now? I said yes. His embrace tightened instantly, not painfully tight, but the kind of hold that finally let him set down the weight he'd carried for years. He leaned on my shoulder, his voice muffled, yet the end of his tone rising uncontrollably. Like driftwood finally breaking free after being submerged for far too long. Piper. Lung, he mumbled. The world has been good to me. I've got my parents, and now the one I love. I finally waited for everything. You don't have to wait any longer from now on. He said nothing, only buried his face deeper into my shoulder. After a long while he loosened his arms slightly and pulled back a little to look at me. You said you were caught off guard earlier, he said suddenly, his tone turning earnest. What did you say to him after you sorted out your feelings? I told him never to bring up the arranged marriage again. He broke into a smile, sounding more like his usual chatty self again. I'm keeping that in mind. I'm the one who made you break your usual logical way of thinking. Do as you please. One more hug than the one just now doesn't count. I want a proper one. You're already holding me. Not enough. He pulled me back into his arms again, holding me with far more confidence this time. His body heat was warm, his heart beat fast and loud, like fireworks bursting inside his chest. I lifted my head in his embrace, thinking to myself, I'd always disliked the unexpected. Variables meant risks, and risks meant extra energy spent managing them. But Leo's song was an unexpected surprise from start to finish. A young man dressed in a mascot costume at a mall entrance. Remembering a strange girl who'd stopped to pat his costume belly all those years ago. He didn't know her name, didn't know who she was, didn't know if he'd ever see her again. He simply kept her tucked away in his heart, and because of that quiet remembrance he walked all the way here, right in front of me. This story tells us, sincerity is the most touching, preference is the rarest, and fate is predestined. The heroine is an adopted wealthy daughter. After the long-lost real young master returns, his parents are willing to compensate him with everything. Unexpectedly, he asks for nothing but the heroine, boldly confesses and pursues her. He is sincere, gentle, and careful. He has secretly loved her since an accidental encounter years ago. This long-lasting love finally touches her heart. They are not related by blood, reunite by fate, break secular concerns and get together. It tells us that true happiness has nothing to do with status or family background, but comes from pure heart and long-term protection. Only by bravely pursuing love and being honest can we seize our own fate. The beauty of life often lies in unexpected warmth.